This presentation of performance assessment comparison has been created by Leslie Beck, Drew Lang, and William Wilson. In the following slides, we will be addressing the standout, DISC, and TAPAS assessments. Personality assessments can give you insight into employees and help you make choices that will benefit your company. Our goal is to supply you with the information that will aid you in making an informed decision on which of these may be the best choice for your organization. Let's get started. The standard assessment was developed by Marcus Buckingham in 2009. He uses each person's traits to determine which of 9 different strengths they excel in. The strengths are advisor, connector, creator, equalizer, influencer, pioneer, provider, stimulator, and teacher. Knowing what your strengths or natural talents are can give you the ability to use them to your advantage professionally, creating success all around you. The DISC assessment refers to the behaviors of dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. The DISC model of behavior was first proposed by William Walter Marston, a psychological psychiatrist with a PhD from Harvard in 1928. In the 1940s, Walter Clark was the first person to design an assessment around Marston's theories. An individual who knows how they behave can then modify said behavior when it is needed. The last assessment we will cover is TAPAS, which stands for Tailored Adaptive Personality Assessment System. It was developed and then implemented in 2009 for use by the United States Army as a talent management tool based on non-cognitive personality and motivational assessment. It is currently administered to new recruits in both the Army and Air Force to determine if they are suitable for military life. While each of our assessments contains similar components, they also aim to set themselves apart from each other. All of them are highly reliable, but each of them was developed with a different use in mind. Standout is a developmental tool meant to help individuals become leaders by recognizing the distinctive talents or strengths they were born with and how they can be used to assist them in reaching either their personal or professional goals. DISC is a descriptive and prescriptive tool. The results of this assessment give the individual a better understanding of how their personality affects their everyday actions, personal preferences, communication with others, ability to organize, and their reactions or avoidance to conflict. This information gives an employer the ability to place this person in a job or with a team that is best suited for their personality, therefore making them a more successful team member. Neither of these assessments is meant for pre-interview screening or selection since they do not consider specific skill sets or experience. TAPAS, on the other hand, is used for pre-screening of potential recruits. According to Dr. Heather Walters, a psychologist for the U.S. Army, TAPAS unlocks motivational aspects of soldiers' performance, like whether or not they're a good fit for Army life, if so, if they are an attrition risk, if they have leadership potential, resilience, team orientation, ingenuity, selflessness, commitment to serve, and even how well they are likely to perform on an Army physical fitness test, making this a good talent management tool. Each of these assessments is unique to each other. The standout assessment consists of a series of time situational questions that contains keywords that measure different traits. The results come in an easy-to-understand 14-page report that lists your strengths from highest to lowest, then gives you a variety of information on how best to use your top 2 strengths to your advantage. The DISC assessment has approximately 28 questions. This can vary depending on the company who's administering the test. It asks the participant to rate a statement on a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree. The results come in a 20-page report that can be complicated to decipher. The TAPAS assessment is designed to be fake resistant and is a forced choice type test, meaning the test itself continuously adapts based on the response to the previous questions. In other words, the answer given to one question influences what the next question will be throughout the 120 statements. At the end of the test, it will have captured a wealth of information about personality on 15 or so dimensions.
Next, we're going to take a look at how each assessment benefits the individual employee and the organization. To begin with, we'll take a look at the standout assessment. There's a saying that says, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. In the case of the standard assessment, the goose is the individual and the gander is the organization. I think we can all agree that if there is an assessment that improves the overall performance of the individual, then it also improves the overall goal of the company. In the standout assessment, individuals take a test and it reveals the person's top 2 strength roles. The design of the assessment is to identify how the individual will respond in work, ethically, for etiquette, personal situations, and address stressful scenarios. That's where they find their edge. The benefit to the individual is highlighted by their dominant traits. The results of the assessment can give the information on how the individual can maximize their top 2 strengths. The results and the guidance help to improve an already strong area, which benefits both parties. Essentially, the assessment is doing the work for the organization. Employees will see their strengths in real time and learn the descriptive narrative for the remaining roles and look for self-improvement. Now we're going to take a look at the benefits of DISC to the individual and the organization. HR managers use DISC as a recruitment tool for the companies that they represent. These benefits both help the employee and the organization. Profiling the individuals educates companies about specific personality traits of their candidates. How would that person respond to new challenges, and will they integrate with the team properly? It also helps candidates integrate better into the position. A new employee can match their area of strength and utilize those strengths to better assimilate into their new role. Speaking of assimilation, DISC helps improve interpersonal communication. It's easier for organizations to identify problem areas with their workers and suggest different approaches to address those problems. Wouldn't your professional life be much easier if you could put like personalities together? Organizations utilize banked profiling in order to assess individuals' performance in their specific job. They can use that banked data to keep their employees motivated and be the most productive employee for the company. Individuals can also use the results from their assessments to apply some self-motivation. The most important use for the DISC assessment for organizations is when it comes to team building. Managers can utilize data collected from the assessment to build teams to ensure projects are successful. Again, when an individual understands their strengths, they understand their place on the team, which could lead to the team being successful in the end. Finally, we'll take a look at TAPAS. This assessment is a little different as it's mainly used as a discriminator for service in the United States Army. This assessment not only benefits the organization, the U.S. Army, but it also benefits the entire United States of America. Armed service members are government employees, and they serve to protect the well-being of every person in this great country. For soldiers with a high school degree or equivalent, scores below the bottom 10% disqualifies them for service in the United States Army. This is good for both the organization and the individual. Ensuring that we provide the best soldiers for the Army makes everyone's life much easier and restores faith in the enlisted members that the government is providing the most qualified people to supplement their force. Leaders discuss that 80% of their time is dealing with the problem children that are already in the Army. By enlisting quality personnel, that gives back time to the leaders to motivate and mentor members who are already serving successfully. TAPAS can also let soldiers know where they're lacking in certain areas to better help prepare themselves for life in the Army.
Looking at the value for the organization based on the performance assessments, we have the global value, which is based on the use and interpretation of each assessment. There are two ways cultures validate what they consider valuable. High and low context cultures. High context cultures use less words and more behavior to understand what the individual means, whereas low context cultures use more words and less behavior. The assessment can blend both of those contexts together. The educational value is based on what the assessment uncovers and how it is best utilized for trait growth, for company and personal use. Finally, the social aspect allows for taking what was learned and trying to build an organizational culture that matches the vision of the company. This is also how you interact during communication, and you may not even know that you are doing it. With Standout 2.0, the global value was used to assess the validity and reliability when this assessment was created. They used the test worldwide when they started at Standout and is still currently used globally. The educational benefits is learning your top 2 strength roles, an extensive list on what you should do and what you should try to avoid. This is a great tool to improve engagement and improve performance. Like DISC, this system lets you understand how you communicate, but it also shows your strength roles. And understanding your strength roles allows you to build a culture and stronger groups within your organization. Looking at DISC, the global value, like said before, anything that helps the individual can have a global reach. The assessment is easy to use and reliable for companies and groups. The educational use shows you your dominant trait and your secondary, which allows you to recognize how you interact with people, but also that you have a mix of all 4 of the traits. The assessment can be used social as a coaching tool. This allows you to help bridge communication between different traits and ensure individuals are heard and understood. And finishing with TAPAS. The main global value is for the U.S., using this assessment for the military. The assessment is simple enough that it can be used anywhere, and important traits can be interpreted as needed. The educational value of this assessment has been designed to defeat faking answers by using forced answering, simple answer A and B. It's not 100% to defeat that, but it is close. The answers judge non-cognitive and motivational assessments to decide traits, which means that you get a more revealing answer, educating the individual and potential supervisors. The main goal is to aid in the military for individuals' suitability for specific positions. This assessment uses cultural norms, building on the conscientiousness of the Big 5 traits, adding industriousness, order, self-control, social responsibility, and virtue. This assessment helps the military judge the values that they are looking for and could also be used in private organizations as well.